The original for this seal was modelled in clay on a board, a bit like a pallet, except that it was a completely enclosed one. Then a plaster mould was made over the outside of it to a certain thickness, I thought, in one piece. Then, with great difficulty, because the amount of clay in it was half a ton or more, in fact I think it was considerably more than half a ton, I had to extract the clay from the underneath. Then the mould, being empty, was handleable. We could turn it over and start filling with hand-mixed concrete, the mixture being beach sand, marble chips, all bound together with a concrete which had been darkened with black oxide.
The mould was broken away from the cast with hammer and chisel, and the surface polished with various grades of carborundum, finishing with snakeskin, which is a slate stone. The hand polishing took 3 weeks to a month to complete.
Where did you make it?
I made it at my place where I'm still living in Brighton.
Oh, lovely. And was the pool ready for it?
The pool was ready for it. It was taken from the truck down to the prepared site, and then the connection was made with the water supply.
Now, this was all part of a great design by the architect?
Yes, by Carl Langer, Dr.
Can you tell us a little about the design of the hotel?
Well, it was an extremely modern design. It was possibly more modern than most Australian architects were producing at the time.
Here we see the Lennon's Broadbeach Hotel under construction in 1955. The hotel was built for the incredible sum of $1 million on land that had previously been the site of sand mining. The hotel was opened to the public on December the 17th, 1956. A large photograph on the wall of a surf lifesaving club at Broadbeach shows the growth of the suburb around the Lennon's Hotel. It is just possible to see the seal at the edge of the swimming pool. After the demolition of the Broadbeach Hotel in 1987, the seal was removed to a new site on this jetty outside what was then a Japanese restaurant. And it is at this spot that the story continues in April 1997. Research headed by Dr. Thomas, Secretary of the Gold Coast branch of the National Trust, led to the discovery of the sculpture in the water beneath the jetty. Since it would have needed special lifting equipment to remove the seal, Dr. Thomas reasoned that the most likely action perpetrated was that it had been pushed or levered into the canal. A team of divers operating from the nearby Pacific Fair shopping centre confirmed the whereabouts of the seal, and using their air cylinders and lengths of flexible hose, pumped away the sand that half buried it.
Supposed to do that black part, please. Working.
The sand pumping was done over a period of 2 days. Ropes were then tied around the seal and attempts made to pull it out from underneath the jetty to make it easier to work on.
Very close down to the bottom.
Yeah. There you go. Well done.
Buoyancy bags were tied onto the sculpture, and air from the divers' tanks was used to inflate them.
It's just moving the angles and slipped it off. You just untie the white rope so we can get it right under her belly. So I can get my arm through it.
Slowly but surely, the seal was inched out into open water. Another day, and a larger team of helpers was called upon to help move the Broadbeach seal closer to the boat ramp. Ropes were secured around the awkward shape and larger flotation bags attached to make sure that the structure was a little easier to move.
Search for the boat.
Finally, the seal is ready to start its journey to the shore.
Alright. You're ready? Yeah. You happy with the ropes? Yeah. Alright, let's push. Yeah. Ready? Stop. Stop.
The first move was only a small one before ropes slipped and needed to be repositioned. But the sculpture was further from the jetty now, and the audience were getting excited. A diver with an underwater camera tried to get a sneak preview, but the water was so full of floating sand particles from the activity that he could see no more than we could. This time, success. The seal is on the move. Smoothly and steadily, the submerged sculpture is moving closer to the boat ramp.
See anything?
It looks like a big shark, no?
No, no.
It's a seal.
See it.
Oh, it's about to run out of juice.
The smile says it all. Thanks to the efforts of this group of divers, a small piece of lost history is now within reach. Keith Holderness of the engineering department of Conrad Jupiters briefs Keith Jarman with the crane truck about the job ahead. The divers are given a soft rope to tie around the seal.
Weighs about 400 kilos flat. That'll lift 6 tons harder. Ah, well. Should be enough big. Something if it's going to be on TV, they wouldn't lift that thing, mate.
When the seal rises from the water, it is difficult to contain the excitement. The yellow flotation bags cover much of the structure, and only those who knew the seal can tell what it is we're looking at. The Gold Coast Bulletin photographer is on hand to capture the event for the local paper, and Dr. Thomas, who is present at every step of the seal recovery program, is positioned for a photograph with the object of his energies. Dorothy Hartnett, author of a biography on the sculptor of the seal, Len Shillham, is the first of the waiting audience to take a closer look at what was the most publicly exhibited Shillham sculpture.
That's a great job. Just the one bit,
did you do? Did you put, 3 on this?
Celebration time. The divers who gave so much of their time to the rediscovery and rescue of the Broadbeach seal are thanked by Dr. Thomas and his wife Polly.
Andrew, you're speaking about this drive and walk, which takes place
Thanks, boys.
Yeah, I don't know what we're going to do for the next few weeks.
What?
Encrusted with barnacles and oysters, the seal is now in the grounds of Jupiter's Casino. Black paint covers the sculpture too, but no one has any recollection of when the paint might have been applied. A front flipper is broken, but evidence of an attempted repair shows that it happened long before the seal's long sojourn underwater.
I think we caught it just in time.
I can't resist it, I'm sorry.
I see your toe eventually then, Tanya.
Pardon?
I see your toe.
He's going to get some water and blast it. We're going to have a look. London would be better.
So what are you hoping to find under that?
No, I was just going to see what we could sort of do with it. Do this and leave the barnacles on. So.
To begin with, Dorothy Hartnett was in favour of retaining the barnacles, but to remove the paint, the barnacles would have to go too. Another consideration was for the safety of individuals who would later sit on the seal for a photograph, in the way people used to when the seal had pride of place beside the largest swimming pool in the southern hemisphere. Spraying with water removed the foul-smelling mud from the sculpture, but made no impression on either the black paint or the incrustations.
Don't you slip with that hose, will you? I've got your arm, mate. No.
I never saw that cut before.
Not quite.
And a shadow on there.
No, it was a spray I was trying to do.
I thought you were worried about the light.
Keith Holderness brought out a high-pressure water blaster, and this too made very little impression on the surface of the seal. More drastic measures were required, so the seal was moved out into the open and Ted Dodson was called in to help. Looking rather like a deep-sea diver in his protective clothing, Ted took less than 30 minutes to clean up the sculpture, the sand effectively chipping away the tight grip of the barnacles and the disguising coverage of black paint. Engulfed in spray, it looked as if the Broadbeach seal was thoroughly enjoying this abrasive treatment.
way to do it, isn't it?
Len Shillham and his wife Kath make a renewed acquaintance with their famous sculpture. Both are delighted to be invited to this public appearance of the seal after all these years, and are fascinated to hear all about the rescue by the Aquanut divers. A local camera crew from Channel 9 Gold Coast were interested to talk to Len Shillham about the seal. What was used from the interview will be shown later in this story. As the seal sculpture has been found in waterfronting Conrad Jupiter's property and made presentable in the workshop area, it was effectively Conrad Jupiter's property. Realising the importance of the sculpture to the history of Broadbeach, Robert Lawman, General Hotel Manager, on behalf of Conrad Jupiter's, officially presented the Broadbeach seal to the National Trust. It was received by the President of the Gold Coast branch of the National Trust, Neil Morley. By now, the Broadbeach seal must be feeling very happy to be featuring in photographs once again. But the story does not end here. Keith Holderness transports the National Trust sculpture from Conrad Jupiter's along the Gold Coast Highway and through the residential streets of Broadbeach to the Broadbeach Primary School. The children and teachers of Broadbeach Primary School had become very interested in the history of their own area and had compiled a collection of fascinating information on the activities and developments in Broadbeach, including that of the Lennon's Broadbeach Hotel. Until another location beside a pool can be created, the seal will remain under the care of the young people of Broadbeach.
That'd be right. Yeah. Well, it's 12 years this November. So that's right, 85. See this?
Come and meet the sculptor. Right.
I don't think the kids are talking about the safety of
They started putting it
like there, in 56, but it's been done on purpose. I'm shaking your hand and
Okay.
welcome.
Thank you.
Look after it very well.
Thank you very much. As custodians of Broadbeach, of the icon of Broadbeach, we're very glad to do that. And it's in safe hands.
Good.
And,
well, we can visit it at some stage. Have visiting rights?
That's right.
Yeah.
You've got visiting rights.
We have visiting rights, Tommy, all right? Oh, well, there you are. Yep.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to accept this on behalf of the school, Broadbeach State School. As principal, I'm always out, but it's also a little bit unusual. One is, well, good thing in one way, they won't make much noise, right? But secondly, they're also 40 years of age, because I believe they are originally established in 1954. So, so while we're looking after them, the children for sure will be on top of them, and we're talking about getting them all polished up. But I'm sure the students will polish them up, and we're going to actually shift it off pellet on Tuesday, so it should be good. But thank you very much indeed also to the sculptors, Mr. and Mr. Shillham, for being able to create such a wonderful, wonderful art form. It has, to me, not only artistic value, but it has pragmatic sense as well, because it's a re-entry to the pool of water. And those of you who used to come up and visit Lennon's years ago, back in the, well, from 1956 onwards, you would have known that it actually put water into the largest pool in the southern hemisphere. And as a young university student, I used to go for a surf over here and sneak in and have a swim, so I knew it well. It was a really, really good structure, and we're very fortunate to take it. And so on behalf of the school, thank you very much, Neil,
It's a pleasure.
for allowing us to be custodians. And I would now invite you to a cup of tea in here, and a little afternoon tea, and you can stay as long as you wish. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For years, mystery surrounded the sudden disappearance of the famous Broadbeach Seal. 10 years after she went missing, the case has been solved. The icon rescued from a watery grave.
The seal and her pup sculpture stood over the pool at the old Leonard's Broadbeach Hotel for the best part of 3 decades. She was moved in the mid-80s, but one night disappeared. Only on Monday was it discovered where to. This watery grave just outside Jupiter's Casino. Divers and heavy machinery needed to lift the sculpture back onto dry land. Barnacles collected over the years were painstakingly scraped away, the rest sandblasted. Finally restored to her former glory, a missing flipper was the only sign of the seal's misadventure. And today she was handed back to the community.
It's like a resurrection, actually.
The seal's 81-year-old sculptor made the trip down from Brisbane to see her again.
It's much bigger than I thought it was, and it's a much better sculpture than I thought it was.
The seal has been sent to a temporary home at Broadbeach Primary School. She'll stay there until a suitable location is found. The National Trust of Queensland would ideally like to put her back beside a pool, where once again water can flow from her mouth. Belinda Burrows, 9, Gold Coast News.
Hey, thank you. The other fascinating story you told me this afternoon is that the model that you used to convince Carl of the design.
Oh yes, it was a clay model. I was cleaning out one of our sheds a few weeks ago. I came across this little clay model at about, what shall we say, by about that in size. Pretty rough model. I wouldn't have shown it to anyone except to an understanding architect who could interpret what was going to come out of that on this scale in a different material. I threw the model away.
So you must be pleased we found it.
I'm very pleased that a few weeks later, up comes the seal.
You probably caused it to happen. Thank you very much.
I'm sure I didn't cause it to happen.
Thank you, Len, and thank you, Kathy.
Thank you for having organised the whole affair, brought it to the seal.
Oh, well, it was such a pleasure to all of us. Thank you very much, Len.